Good to start? All right, everyone, welcome to the February 2025 Planning Commission session. Welcome, Planning Commission members, staff, and guests. Multiple staff members are here today to ensure that the meeting runs smoothly and all applicants and members of the public are able to participate in the meeting at the appropriate times.
If you're here today and would like to speak about a case, please provide your name clearly into the microphone, and please be sure to sign in either at the back of the room or at the podium for documentation purposes. If you're here today to speak about a case, you must speak up when the chairperson calls for public comment. Oops. Okay, I'll go ahead and call the roll. Mr. Cook?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Harp?
Here.
Mr. Holcomb? Mr. Osorio?
Here.
And Mr. Cohn.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I'll give a brief overview of the meeting format. Applicants with request before the Planning Commission are allotted a presentation time of 10 minutes. This time should include, but is not limited to, an overview of the project, case history, and any pertinent meetings held regarding the request. This time also includes all persons presenting information on behalf of the applicant, such as attorneys, engineers, and architects. The time limit does not include any questions asked by the Planning Commission or staff regarding request. During the public comment period, members of the general public are given the opportunity to address their concerns in intervals of 2 minutes. And after the public comment period, applicants have 5 minutes to respond. The administrator has a timer and will make presenters aware of when the time has expired. And the Planning Commission reserves the right to amend these procedures on a case-by-case basis. And then are there any changes to the agenda since publication?
Yes, we've actually had a few changes since publication. The first change is case number 2 that was on the consent agenda, Annex-2024-0025, which is a future land use amendment and zoning amendment for a pending annexation at 1401 Shop Road, has been deferred. As well, case number 5, which is a zoning map amendment, ZMA-2025-0001 at 5420 Forest Drive, has been deferred. And the other 2 changes are under major site plan review, cases 8 and 9, which is S-Plan-2025-0001 at 301 Club Ridge Road, and S-Plan-2025-0002 at 300A Club Ridge Road. Both of those have also been deferred. So it really shortens our agenda this evening.
All right, we'll go to the consent agenda. The Planning Commission uses the consent agenda to approve non-controversial or routine matters by a single motion and vote. Examples of such items include site plans, annexations, and street names. If a member of the Planning Commission or the general public would like to discuss an item on the consent agenda, you must speak up after the item is read. The consent agenda item is read. Then that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered during the meeting. The Planning Commission then approves the remaining consent agenda items. Will the staff please read the consent agenda?
Certainly.
Thank you.
The first item was case number 3, January 9th, 2025 minutes, pardon me. And then case number 3, Annex-2024-0028, 2313 Leesburg Road. Request recommendation on the assignment of the land use classification of Urban Edge Residential Large Lot, UER2, and the assignment of zoning of Residential Single Family Large Lot District, RSF1, for a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as neighborhood, medium density, and zone residential 3, R3 by Richland County. The next case is Annex-2025-0001 at 2309 Leesburg Road. This is a request recommendation on the assignment of the land use classification of UER2 and the assignment of zoning of RSF1 for a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as neighborhood medium density and zoned R3 by Richland County.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone on the Planning Commission or the public that would like to have an item removed from the consent agenda? It appears that we are good to entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion, we approve the January 2025 minutes and the consent agenda.
Motion, may I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda passes. All right, on to the regular agenda. The Planning Commission will now move forward with those items on the regular agenda. We will use the following outline for regular agenda items. The administrator will introduce the case, and the applicant will have 10 minutes to make a presentation. The Planning Commission may ask questions, and the public comment period will be open for those who are present, and then the public comment period will be closed. The applicant will have 5 minutes to respond to public comments, and the Planning Commission may ask additional questions of the applicant. From there, we'll deliberate and take action by the Planning Commission.
Good afternoon. The first case on the regular agenda is 1015 Hamrick Street and Rear Bluff Road, tax map numbers 11204-02-17 and 11204-0223. And it's a request on a recommendation for the assignment of a land use classification of urban core mixed residential type 3 and the assignment of zoning of residential two-family Middle Village District for a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as mixed residential high density and zoned residential 6 by Richland County. And as I said, this is an annexation with the request for that recommendation on, on the zoning and land use classification. I believe the applicant is here if y'all have any questions.
Did any of the Planning Commission members have questions of staff? If the applicant's here to speak to the case, we'll invite you to come up.
Hello, my name is Tushar Patel. Yeah, I'm the property owner, and me and my engineer are here. If there is any questions or anything, we are just trying to follow the all the procedures necessary for getting this project up.
So did you seek the annexation, or was that?
We are here to get it annexed to the city.
Okay. All right. Do any commission members have any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here from the public that would like to speak to this case, whether for or in opposition? All right. There, go ahead.
I got a question for staff. Is that property landlocked, or how does that one that's in the middle of the block, how's that accessed?
Well, there are two parcels. The front parcel has access directly onto Hamrick Street. The rear parcel is, in consideration for annexation along with it. It is landlocked. Our ordinances require that if they were to develop on that, it would need to be combined with something to not be landlocked.
Thank you.
Good question. I was actually thinking that earlier and forgot about that. Thanks. Do any commission members have any other further questions or comments? All right. I will consider a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we recommend approval of the request to assign the future land use classification of urban core mixed residential type 3 and the request to assign the zoning classification of residential two-family Mill Village District for the property at 1015 Hamrick Street and Bluff Road at the time of annexation as it meets the decision standards outlined in section 17-2.5 in the Unified Development Ordinance.
Thank you. Good. We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The Thank you. On to the next case.
Okay, now, this brings us to the next item on the agenda, which is a proposed amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 17, Article 3, zoning districts, Section 17-3.7, overlay districts. For the Innovista Design Overlay District, to remove the modification of height except within 300 feet of the western boundary of the West Gervais Protection Area. You know, a copy of the proposed changes is in the packet, but to sum it up briefly, this is similar to a request that's been before you before, I believe it was April of '24, where it was removing it within 300 feet of these historic overlays. This does essentially the same thing, except it leaves it in place within 300 feet of the West Gervais protection area. And it does leave, it's a 75-foot height limitation within 300 feet as it stands right now of those historic overlays. It's also a 75-foot height limit within 300 feet of residential areas, and that limitation will remain as well. So effectively what's happening is we're just dropping it from most of the areas that are contiguous to historic areas, but we're leaving it in place just in this one geographic area, which is generally to the west of UG Street. And we do have a map to kind of show you where it is going to remain in place. I will add that the West Gervais district, a lot of that is within an overlay that does have its own separate height limitations, and that will likewise remain in place.
Was the 75-foot height restriction within proximity of residential, was that already in place?
Yeah, right, and so that's going to remain.
Okay.
It remains unchanged.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you. All right.
Does that apply to any type of residential, like student housing?
It is, I believe it's residential districts, so hold on one moment. Yeah, residential districts. So it could be a residence in a commercial district and would not apply. Yeah, in this case, you know, there's really not any residences here, but something would be limited there. Yeah. So in the ID overlay, for example, the mill districts can be close to it, so that they would remain protected from that height.
Just so I understand, so this area we're looking at that's shaded, they will be able to have heights that are greater than 75 feet?
Now, this is actually the area where it will still be limited to no higher than 75 feet. And that was kind of in response to some community input. They wish to retain that limitation.
All right.
Any commission members have any additional questions or comments? Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this, either for or in opposition? All right. I'm good to have a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the zoning text amendment TA-2025-001.
Second.
Thank you. Do you need any additional clarification on that?
I think not for the text amendment. I know, sorry, that wasn't in y'all's template, but I think we're okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. That concludes the regular agenda. Do we have any additional business or other business to discuss?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful week and Valentine's. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I motion that we adjourn.
Got a motion? Can we get a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you all.